What is true freedom? Imagine waking up in the morning and feeling that you are the master of your life. Neither external circumstances, nor other people's opinions, nor even your own fickle moods can throw you off track. You are calm, focused, and able to act effectively, no matter what. Sounds like utopia, doesn't it? Like a dream that we chase through life but rarely catch. We live in a world where control seems to elude us from all sides. The news is scary, the economy is unstable, the people around us behave unpredictably, and our own bodies sometimes fail us. We flail around trying to grasp the elusive threads of control, and end up feeling even more helpless and anxious. But what if I told you that the path to this inner freedom and equanimity was discovered almost 2,000 years ago? What if there was one simple but incredibly powerful rule that could forever change the way you approach life, problems, and yourself? A rule that, if understood and applied, gives not an illusion, but real, unshakable freedom. It's the cardinal rule of the Stoics. And today, we're going to dive into its essence, to understand how it works, and how each of us can use it to create a more peaceful, purposeful, and truly free life. Get ready, because this knowledge will change the way you view the world. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is one of its cornerstones, known as the Dichotomy of Control. It's not just a concept, it's a practical tool, a filter through which the Stoics suggested we let every event, every thought, every experience pass. Its authorship is most often attributed to the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus, a former slave who, despite his plight, became one of the most influential thinkers of his time. His teachings have come down to us through the writings of his student Arrianus, in works such as the Conversations and the famous Enchiridion, or Manual. It is in the Manual that Epictetus begins with a phrase of stunning simplicity and profundity. Some things depend on us, some do not. Let's take this phrase apart piece by piece, because it encapsulates all the wisdom we seek today. What, according to the Stoics, is categorized as dependent on us, and what is categorized as not dependent on us? The Stoic seeks health but accepts the inevitability of illness as part of life, focusing on what he can control, his lifestyle, hygiene, seeing a doctor on time, not whether he will get sick at all, our actions as a consequence of our decisions. We control our actions, our words, our efforts. Not the result of those actions, but the actions themselves. We can choose to work hard, to tell the truth, to be honest, to show kindness. These are our choices. Example: you can study hard for an exam, but you have no control over the questions that come across or the mood of the examiner. However, your process of preparation, your effort, is entirely within your control. Point 1. What is under our control? Inner. Epictetus was very clear. Our opinions, urges, desires, and aversions are under our control, and in fact, everything that is our own actions. Let's break this down further, because this is where the true key to freedom lies. Our opinions and judgments. These are our interpretations of events. The world itself is neutral. Rain is just rain. But we decide it's bad weather, a ruined day, or salvation for the harvest. It is not the event itself that causes our suffering, but our judgment of it. We can choose how we perceive information, what conclusions we draw, what we believe. No one can make you believe what you don't want to believe or think what you don't want to think. This is your inner fortress. Example: you receive a negative comment under your video. You may decide it's a personal insult and cause for upset, or you may take it as just someone's opinion that doesn't define your value, and perhaps even an opportunity for improvement. The choice of response is yours. Our motivations and intentions, these are our internal drives to act. We choose whether to act out of anger, envy, fear, or conversely, out of kindness, wisdom, and justice. Our motivation, our values, our principles are what we cultivate, and what determines the direction of our actions. Example: something unpleasant has been done to you. Your impulse to respond with aggression is under your control. You can consciously choose how to respond based on your values rather than a momentary emotional impulse. Our desires and aversions. These are our desires for something or our attempts to avoid something. The Stoics teach us to desire only what is under our control. i.e., virtuous behavior, and to avoid only what is under our control, i.e., vicious behavior. When we desire external things, wealth, fame, health, or avert them, sickness, poverty, death, we place our freedom in the hands of fate. Example, the desire to be healthy is natural, but an absolute aversion to illness, which leads to panic at every sneeze, takes away your peace. Today it's sunny, tomorrow it's raining. Tomorrow food prices will go up. Tomorrow there will be a global crisis. All of these things happen regardless of our desires. Birth and death. We do not choose where and when to be born, and we cannot avoid death. These are fundamental conditions of human existence. So the dichotomy of control offers us a hard but liberating truth. Most of the things in the world that we chase and worry about are really out of our control. In essence, we are in control of our character, our virtues, and the way we use our impressions of the world. This is the inner citadel that no one can take away from us. 2. What is outside of our control externally? Now here comes the hardest part to accept, but the vital part. What did Epictetus categorize as beyond our control? The list is much broader here, and this is where most of us lose our peace in trying to control what is out of our control. Our body, it ages, it gets sick, it can get injured. After all, it is mortal. We can take care of it, exercise it, heal it, but we cannot control its absolute state or avoid its natural deterioration. Example, you can eat right and exercise, but you can't guarantee the absence of disease or accidents. Our possessions, money, house, car, clothes, are all external things. They can be lost, stolen, broken, or devalued. Our attachment to them is a source of suffering. Example, you can work hard and save money, but market fluctuations or a natural disaster can devalue all your savings. Our reputation and the opinion of others. As much as we would like to, we cannot make people think well of us, or at all think of us the way we want them to. Words, gossip, and the evaluation of others are completely out of our control. We only control whether we are worthy of respect, not whether we will get it. Example, you can be the most honest and conscientious person, but someone can still spread rumors about you or have a biased opinion. Other people's actions and thoughts. We cannot force someone to like us, agree with us, do our bidding, or behave in a certain way. Each person has their own will, their own thoughts, and their own motivations that are completely independent of us. Example, you can be a perfect partner, but you can't force the other person to stay with you if they choose to leave. External circumstances and events, weather, economic situation, political events, pandemics, natural disasters, accidents. It's a huge range of things that we have no direct influence over. Example, the dichotomy of control teaches us to accept these external events without panic or despair. We realize that we cannot control what happens, but we are always in control of our reaction to what happens. This allows us to recover more quickly from blows of fate, learn from mistakes, and move forward with unwavering inner strength. What it looks like when faced with a setback, you don't ask, "Why did this happen to me?" but ask, "What can I do about it? How can I respond in the best way possible?" 3. Why is it so important? Benefits of the control dichotomy. Understanding and, more importantly, applying the control dichotomy is not just an intellectual exercise. It is a profound transformation that brings tremendous practical benefits to our daily lives. Inner peace, ataraxia. A major benefit. When we stop fighting what is out of our control, we release a tremendous amount of mental energy. Instead of worrying about the weather, the news, or other people's opinions, we channel that energy into things we can actually change. Our reactions, our actions. This leads to a state of serenity that the Stoics called ataraxia. It is not indifference, but an absence of anxiety and confusion. What it looks like. You can't control traffic on the road, but you can control your reaction to it. Instead of anger and irritation, embrace it and use the time to listen to an audiobook or meditate. True freedom. Paradoxically, true freedom comes not when we can do whatever we want, but when we don't desire what is beyond our control. When you stop depending on external circumstances, other people's approval or material goods for your happiness, you become truly free. No one can take from you what you value most: your character, your virtues, your inner peace. This is freedom from slavery to external things. Effectiveness of action. When we see clearly the limits of our influence, we stop spreading ourselves thin. We focus our efforts and energy solely on those aspects of the situation that we really can change. This makes our actions more focused, powerful, and effective. What it looks like. Instead of worrying about the outcome of the interview, you focus on thorough preparation, on presenting yourself in the best way possible. The outcome is in the employer's hands, but your effort is in yours. Resilience. Life is full of adversity. Losses, illnesses, disappointments are inevitable. They taught not to let emotions control our minds and our judgments. The goal is not to suppress emotions, but to develop the wisdom to interpret them correctly and not let them disturb our inner peace. Emotions are impressions that we can either approve or reject. 5. How to put the control dichotomy into practice. Stoic tools ethical development. For the Stoics, the only true good is virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, moderation. All of these qualities are completely within our control. By focusing on the dichotomy of control, we naturally direct our efforts toward developing our inner peace, toward being the best version of ourselves, regardless of external circumstances. This leads to a more meaningful and ethical life. Common misconceptions about the dichotomy of control. Unfortunately, Stoicism is often misunderstood. It is important to dispel a few myths in order to fully realize the power of the control dichotomy. Stoicism is apathy or inaction. This is one of the biggest misconceptions. Stoics do not call for passive inaction. On the contrary, they call for conscious and energetic action within what is within our control. If you can affect a situation with your effort, you are obligated to do so. Stoicism is a philosophy of action, but action that is intelligent, purposeful, and not burdened by futile attempts to control what is beyond our control. Example: a Stoic will not sit idly by if his house is on fire, saying, "The fire is beyond my control." He will actively put out the fire or call the fire department, i.e., perform actions that are within his control. But if the house burns down, he will accept that fact without excessive despair, focusing on the next step. Stoicism is fatalism. Since everything is beyond my control, then everything is predetermined and there is no point in trying. This is another dangerous interpretation. The Stoics believed in predestination, but their understanding of fate was profound. They believed that we must act, make an effort, because it is our actions that are part of this predetermined order. Fate determines what happens, but how we react and what we do in response is our contribution to that fate. Stoicism is the suppression of emotion. The Stoics did not call for being emotionless robots. They recognized the naturalness of emotions. Anger, fear, sadness are normal reactions. However, the Stoics taught to work with these emotions, not be their slaves. This is one of the most profound and perhaps the most difficult Stoic practices to master. It is not just accepting what happens, but actively loving it. Loving what has happened because it is part of the whole, part of the fabric of your experience that makes you who you are. Marcus Aurelius said, "Anything that happens must be good for me." What it looks like. If you lose your job instead of getting depressed, you can say, "It happened. I will accept it as part of my destiny and find in it an opportunity for a new path, for growth, for discovering myself from a different perspective." This is active reinvention. So we understand what the dichotomy of control is and why it is important. But how do we transfer this ancient wisdom to our modern lives? The Stoics left us with an arsenal of practical tools: daily reflection, morning and evening practices. Morning. Start the day by mentally analyzing the upcoming events. Ask yourself, what is within my control today? What can I do? What do I need to be prepared for that is beyond my control? This helps you set yourself up for a productive mindset and accept potential challenges in advance. Evening. End the day with an analysis. What did I spend my energy on? What was I angry or anxious about? Was it within my control? How could I have reacted differently? This analysis helps reinforce your understanding of the dichotomy of control and learn from your mistakes. Instant impression separation, thought check. When a strong emotion, anger, anxiety, fear arises, stop. Don't react immediately. Ask yourself, does this relate to what is under my control or what is out of my control? If out of control, I can't change it, but I can change my reaction. If under control, what can I do right now to act virtuously? This is a kind of mental lie detector that helps separate the grains from the chaff. Premeditatio malorum, premeditating woes. This is not pessimism, but proactive thinking. The Stoics encouraged us to think ahead of time about the worst-case scenarios that could happen that are beyond our control. What if I lose my job? What if I get sick? What if a loved one leaves? The goal is not to scare ourselves, but to 1. Realize that we will get through this. The human spirit is amazingly resilient. 2. To think in advance about possible solutions or how we would react if it happened. 3. Assess how much these events will actually affect our intrinsic worth. Answer: none. This helps reduce shock and fear when the unwanted event actually happens, making us more prepared. Amor fati, love of fate. We can't control the virus, but we can control our hygiene, social distance, and healthcare, personal effectiveness, and decision-making. Having a clear understanding of your spheres of influence allows you to make better decisions, not be dissipated into futile endeavors, and be more productive. It's not just about peace of mind, it's about performance. True freedom is within us. Focus on the effort, not the result. We only control our effort, our process. The outcome always has many variables beyond our control. The dichotomy of control principle teaches us to put our best effort into what we do, but to let go of attachment to a specific outcome. You are working hard on a project. You control your hours, your focus, the quality of your work. You don't control whether the project gets approved, gets recognized, or even whether you get a promotion. Do your best and then let the results be what they are. Your inner peace should not depend on external approval. Inner citadel. Developing yourself as a person capable of being stable and calm within, regardless of external storms. This is a metaphor, meaning that your mind, your values, your character, are your impregnable fortress that cannot be penetrated by external adversity unless you yourself open the gates. 6. Modern relevance of the control dichotomy, a seemingly ancient philosophy that originated in a very different world. But the dichotomy of control is more relevant today than ever, combating stress and anxiety. In our high-speed, unpredictable world, where streams of information are bombarding us from all sides, anxiety has become the norm. The dichotomy of control principle offers a powerful antidote. Stop wasting energy on what worries you and what you can't change, and focus on what is within your power, your thoughts, your actions. Digital addiction and information noise. We are constantly bombarded with news, opinions, and evaluations from others. This can easily undermine our peace and self-esteem. Stoicism teaches us to filter this information, separating what we can influence from what only distracts and drains us. We can't control other people's posts or news headlines, but we can control how much attention we pay to them and how we react to them. Uncertainty of the future, pandemics, economic crises, climate change. These are all factors that are hugely worrying. The dichotomy of control doesn't make these problems go away, but it does give us a mental framework to meet them with courage and clarity. We've come to the end of our dive into a major rule of the Stoics. The dichotomy of control is not just a set of ancient philosophical sayings. It is a practical guide to action that, when applied, truly brings true freedom. This freedom is not the absence of problems, nor is it total control over one's life or the world. No, true freedom is freedom from fear, from anxiety, from dependence on external circumstances. It is a freedom that is born out of understanding. There are things I can change, and there are things I can't. And my wisdom lies in knowing the difference. By accepting what is beyond your control, you stop wasting energy fighting windmills. By focusing on what is within your control, your judgments, your reactions, your actions, your character, you become the master of your inner world. And it is there, in this inner citadel, that unshakable peace and true, deep freedom await you. This is not an easy path. It requires constant practice, introspection, and honesty with yourself. But the rewards are worth it. A life lived with less anxiety, more clarity, and a deep sense of purpose and inner strength. I encourage you to start applying this principle today. The next time you face a challenge, stop and ask yourself a key question. Is this within my control or not? The answer to this question can be the first step to your own truly free life. What do you think about this cardinal rule of the Stoics? Share your thoughts in the comments below. What aspects of the dichotomy of control resonate with you the most? And do you think you can apply it to your life? If this video was helpful to you, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new insightful video essays on wisdom, psychology, and self-development. Click on the bell to receive notifications. Thank you for watching. See you again on your journey to wisdom and freedom.